Come on down. Good to have you in the studio, Max. How's it been?
Hey, thanks for having me.
Transmitting to us here in outer space from California, we have max capacity.
I love this set.
Yes, it's a totally original creation of mine. Uh, um, it was funny though, we had chatted about my last interview, and you said, hey, you could do something like Space Ghost Coast to Coast. It just so happened I was planning this already.
It's kind of
Great
perfect.
minds. Yes. So Max, how's it going?
Pretty good. I'm doing pretty well.
And so as I said in the intro, video, GIF, and NFT artist, Max Capacity. You can find him online. It's Max Capacity. Tell me, Max, what is an NFT?
So it's an interesting there's a distinction to be made between NFTs, which are basically a type of blockchain technology where
Right.
you're creating a token that has metadata attached to it, which is the art. And that token is then tradable and collectible. And
Yeah, and to your point, an NFT does not have to be art
right.
at all.
No,
Right.
and it could be anything. I mean, and there's different ways, different types of art. So there's like poetry NFTs.
Right.
Um, but then there's like a distinction to be made though between crypto art and NFTs because crypto art existed before NFT technology.
And crypto art has been around for, a hot minute now. What,
Yeah.
10,
So
15 years? Something like that?
yeah, and you could like basically anybody who's was selling downloads of art for
Oh, it's so longer than that,
or
even.
Bitcoin. Yeah, I mean, well, I don't know. I remember looking into that stuff though back in, but I can't remember. You remember when I used to mine Bitcoin in the garage at our house?
Yes.
I can't.
When we live together, because as I mentioned, we are brothers.
Yeah,
This is true. This is not a euphemism.
right.
Brothers from the same mother. Yes.
So like,
Um,
I used to do the Bitcoin mining, and
yep.
like when it back when if you remember when it was like just little tiny chips. Now you have to buy a giant box like server scale boxes do it now. But I had little tiny USB chips and I had to like put a fan on them because it got hot.
And so just like I don't want to like necessarily slow everything down by spelling it out piece by piece for everyone, but just like this short description of like what you're talking about, crypto mining.
Yeah, so Bitcoin specifically, um, the way that the network and the transactions are logged onto the blockchain, which is just people like to call it a public ledger, but it's really like an immutable record of everything that's happened, you know,
Yes.
with a particular cryptocurrency. So with Bitcoin, you mine it by having your computer solve complicated equations, like basically cryptography. And
Math.
yeah, and
It's
like
doing
doing a
math.
lot of math, heavy math, and that's that secures the network, and then the miners get rewarded with Bitcoin, usually through there's an actual reward that the blockchain issues out, but there's also transaction fees go to miners. I'm not sure
Yes.
at what percentage, but it's gotten to a point though where it's not profitable for somebody like me to do it in my garage. Um, like
If you have a warehouse full
yeah,
of,
that's
yeah,
basically nobody does it unless they have at least a shipping container, full of
right.
miners. But so then
So
that's really energy intensive. And so um, Ethereum, which is the second most popular cryptocurrency, they just shifted over. They did a whole merge, it was called, to proof of stake, which uses much less electricity. It's basically um, you have coins and you stake them. I mean, it's like you hold them and the
sounds delicious.
yeah. So that is what secures a proof of stake network. I don't really understand how it works. Proof of work makes more sense to me. But that's what miners are doing. And so now Ethereum had NFTs have had a bad rep because of environmental concerns.
Right, the energy that goes into them.
Yeah, and there's a point to that, but it's also um, it's it is kind of like people ignore all the other things that are using up electricity, right? Like the internet.
Sure.
And
Yeah, just the servers in general that bring us our Netflix and
yeah,
such. Right.
and Netflix and Twitter, right,
Yeah,
where the
there you
people are
go.
complaining about NFTs being, like bad for the environment. It's like, what do they think the Twitter servers run on?
And that's what they do there at Twitter, right? Is complain
Yeah,
about things.
I
Yeah,
mean that's
absolutely.
at least 2/3 of all the tweets on Twitter are complaints. But
But it's worth mentioning that's a hotbed of NFT activity. Twitter is. That's where a lot of this stuff happens. It's where people meet each other. That's where people talk NFTs, right?
the main discovery tool, unfortunately. Um,
Um,
there's like lots of other communication tools. People use Discord like crazy. Every NFT project and lots of crypto artists have their own servers. And same with like the different websites and platforms. They'll have their own Discord server where you can go ask for help and stuff like that. Uh,
so now that we've explained to the internet what an NFT is, no. Let's talk about NFT art and let's talk about your NFT art, right? You are known for a lot of things, and in fact, we're gonna start in the middle, go back to the beginning, and then hopefully end at the end, right? But sort of the middle where we are, you're selling NFT art, you have NFT art that has been sold. You're minting it, meaning you're putting it online, you're getting it seen by people. Um, what is your what's your flagship collection? You know what I'm getting at,
oh,
right? The big boy.
what I'm known for is DOS punks,
DOS Punks.
which is there's a huge collection, an NFT collection called CryptoPunks.
Yes, and I was going to get to that too. Right. So what's up with punks? Why does NFT art feature so many punks? What is all that?
It was one of the original like NFT projects on Ethereum. Like I was saying, crypto art predates NFTs, so crypto art's been around since before the crypto punks, but it is one of the earliest projects on Ethereum, and there's 10,000 of them. They're basically like I don't know. Well, they're generative art using like layers. I'm not sure exactly how the crypto punks were made. If it was,
Um,
you know, they have like layers like noses and you know eyes, hair.
were they an example of the trend towards low effort? Like there's a trend in NFT art of low effort, high output, right? Is that sort of
I think
part of the punk aesthetic?
Yeah, and I think part of the crypto punks that is part of the aesthetic for sure, because they're like literally, I believe, 16 by 16 pixels.
Right.
So they're small, and there's 10,000 of them. So it's kind of like one thing I like about uh, crypto art and NFTs is there is a lot of that sort of generative art, which
Yeah, very cool.
I like basically like people think of generative art only as creative coding, but really there's all sorts of ways to make generative art. You know, you've seen how I make video glitches. I'll record 2 hours of glitches and then I go through and curate out the ones I want, and it's basically like
Hell yeah.
generative art, right?
And it's, you know, art generated by technology, but like, most art is at this point, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Well, and at some
I mean,
stage or another, right? It's tech. People aren't doing making all the decisions themselves anymore, even just on Photoshop,
right.
right? Like when you might be like adjusting the slider, but like that you're not actually doing the math.
So Gridwork says, "Too bad I sold my DOS punks." LOL.
Oh,
But
that's a bummer
that
because they're up right now.
ooh, I have one.
So
But this is not a sales tactic,
no, no,
everyone.
no.
That's like, okay, just side note, what was it? Was it Jimmy? Not Jimmy Kimmel. It was the other fuck on
Jimmy
late
Fallon?
night. Jimmy Fallon.
I'm not a fan.
Not that. No, yeah. Jimmy Fallon had Paris Hilton on, and they were talking about their ape
Bored,
NFTs,
Bored
right?
Ape Yacht Club. Yeah.
And yeah, Ape Yacht Club. And like, so they just sort of like, talked about the collection, each showed their own, and it's like, that's like, you know, the FCC has rules against things like that, against like essentially promoting your own investment on your entertainment television
Right.
show. But
And people have gotten in
this is
trouble.
Twitch. No. Yes, right.
Um,
But
I think it was Kim
yeah,
Kardashian got in trouble for promoting cryptocurrency, that she was
on
paid.
like Instagram, right?
Yeah,
Something like
it's
that.
because she was paid to promote it and didn't disclose it, I believe.
That's right. Yeah, and that's yeah, exactly. So, um, maybe this is a commercial, but how about we just tell you it's a commercial? Go
Well,
buy.
yeah, I mean, it's certainly to promote myself, but also like a
Yes.
big part of the NFT culture and crypto art, especially crypto art, okay, to be specific, is onboarding people, artists into crypto art.
Sure. Yeah.
And we want to onboard, I mean, some of us, like you were talking about low effort art, that's actually an art movement that has happened in crypto art. And it's like, it, most people will say it's the only native art movement to crypto art, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And it all happened because uh all of a sudden when you're selling art to collectors, there becomes a collector and artist dynamic, right? And
As in what sells gets produced because someone is buying it, that sort of thing.
yeah, and it's kind of okay, it's kind of like making movies, right? Everybody wants to make
Sure.
art, but you
Absolutely.
still have to sell, right? You have to make your money back. You have to make a living. You have to um
It's not a charity,
yeah.
right?
So I think it's a lot like making movies. I actually was watching Joe Bob, and he had Roger Corman on. I forget. It was for Humanoids from the Deep.
Oh, hell yeah.
And like Joe Bob was talking about a speech that Corman made where he referred to making movies as a compromised art form. And like basically like you have to make compromises because you need the money to make the movie, right?
Yes.
And so it's a
So
little less about that with art, but I mean artists need to get a living wage so that they can spend their time making art and getting better at making art, right?
there was once a deal that Corman made for a movie. I believe it was Planet of Terror. And the financier would only back the film if there was a rape scene
Ew.
in it. And so the way Corman fulfilled that clause of the contract was to have an alien simulate rape on a human, but basically it's just a rubber monster that lays down on top of a woman. So he
Even
got the money but didn't really have to do the rape scene.
it's kind of like
Yikes.
humanoids from the deep too, right? There's a bunch of
Right, there's, yeah.
like assault,
There's a theme there.
right?
Yeah.
But like they're very tame. Um, and actually, he was talking about that. They had to like reshoot a bunch of scenes because the original director didn't want to put in any of the assault scenes.
Right. So they fired his ass. No, it's a business. But no, yeah, but we digress. I digress, I guess. This is an art form very much, NFT art is an art form very much like involved in the sales process of it. The word shill gets used a lot, right? That's sort of like a trope of NFT art, right?
And it's
Is
kind
that
of
you're
like
shilling,
it's an inaccurate word, right? Because
right?
um, if you're shilling something, you're selling something for somebody else. But
Right, good point.
it gets
Yeah,
used, uh, you know, to refer to self-promoting, basically.
right.
But like,
And so,
it's just like the slang. It's unfortunate, but whatever. Slang does what slang does, you know.
what do you think it is? Is that part of why there's so much like NFT hate? NFT art, by the way. There's a lot of like NFT art like bias
Yeah,
out there online. People talk shit. Honestly, I think when they don't know much about it at all, it's one thing if you're making an informed comment on some of this stuff, but
yeah,
it's just like sort of this like blind hatred. I once said, I think to VJ Cat, I said, it's like being mad at oil paintings.
yeah.
It just doesn't really make sense to me.
Oh,
It's like those motion pictures the kids are watching these days, right? So,
yeah. Well, and
but is
the
it
best argument against it was the environmental one.
true?
Um,
That is sort of an objective reason to not
but it was
get
also,
behind it.
but also, it's like not a good enough reason to be mad, right? It's like those same people use banks, right? And
Yeah.
the
So
bank,
here, yeah.
the banks, if they're worried about the environment, they're probably using banks that lend money and invest in, fossil fuel companies, oil companies. Like, you know,
I mean, honestly, like launder money for like terrorist organizations
yeah.
and like organized crime
What was
as
it?
well. Yeah.
HSBC got in hella
Yeah. Yeah.
trouble for like laundering drug cartel money and shit. Like,
Yeah. But so there is some interesting friction against NFT art here on Twitch. To be honest about that, and but I guess it's everywhere. You can find it on Twitter, and like we were saying, Twitter's like the main playground
lots
for
of
NFT
media
artists.
too.
But
Um,
yeah,
I've noticed like certain media outlets treat it more objectively than others. You know,
yeah,
like
very true.
there. I like reading Ars Technica, but like they have a definite anti-crypto bias. You can just tell.
Okay, I didn't
Oh,
realize that. I
right.
guess. Yeah,
Lots of
yeah.
Schadenfreude, or however you say it, like the shameful joy every time
Okay,
every time something bad happens in crypto, like Ars Technica has to write about it.
it's like ha, told you so, sort of
But
thing,
yeah,
right?
but like
Um,
then The Verge will treat it more objectively. Um, I don't know. And then
well, hey,
New York Times. So just recently, there's this big, huge crash. This company that they're basically Ponzi scheming, like
oh yeah, sure,
or it's a lot like Lehman Brothers, where they're backing up their collateral was basically junk collateral. The
yeah,
subprime mortgage backed securities.
completely.
And so that's what killed like Lehman Brothers. And that's kind of what just happened to this guy is he was using customer money to invest in leveraged positions basically, which means you're basically borrowing against what you're investing to invest to get some money to invest more. if that makes sense.
Just staying one step ahead until it all falls apart.
Yeah, right. No, and it's like Lehman Brothers and it's like Bernie Madoff, and uh, but so like New York Times wrote this like puff piece about him, about how he works so hard.
So hey, you work hard,
Yeah,
and I want to show off some of
yeah,
your hard work here. We've got some stuff to show off, and if you've ever seen one of these interviews, I'll play clips from people's streams, that sort of thing. Well, we don't have clips here. We have the internet. So let's check it out, and like maybe you can help guide me a little bit. We're going to look here. We're starting here.
yes.
So, what is this? Now, that is the URL, everyone, right at the top. That's literally the URL that we're
I'm so
looking at.
proud of that. I was planning that as soon
Yeah,
as I heard about those like 10 years ago, and those then all the new top level domains.
right. Yeah, basically name your shit whatever you want.
So
Yeah,
this is kind of
like,
a common thing in crypto art is you have there's a website called Linktree, uh,
right.
and it's
Yeah,
just a list of all of
I
your.
have a link
Yeah,
tree.
okay, so and every crypto artist has something. This one just happens to be custom. Um, it's just I made it on Google Sites. It's just so I could kind of style it more to my style.
Pay no attention to the doc that is showing up for some reason. Yeah, so like we were talking about DOS punks. Let's take a look.
Yeah.
Um, and um, what is going on here?
Oh, this is pretty cool.
It's downloading a virus, right? No.
So this is one of our. Okay, so DOS Punks, it was really successful, way more successful than I had hoped. And um, part of what my friend came up with an idea to create an organization that
Right.
that would benefit the arts community, but also require you to own DOS Punks. So it's like,
That is the requirement for being part of the community, is
yeah.
actually like
So,
having that
so
in your
what we have
collection.
is called a DAO, which is a decentralized autonomous organization. And
Nice.
I believe that.
Sounds like the future.
Yeah. But it's like the thing is that it's not very autonomous, you know what I mean?
Sure, I mean it's like very much run by human beings, right?
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
like that's what I always tell people is the technology's not really there. Like somebody still has to hit the buttons. You know?
Yep.
And
Here we are. Yeah.
so
DOS Punk's DAO exists to buy and hoard art from new emerging artists focused on glitch and trash art and to promote the artists collected by the DAO. The DOS Punks DAO works to benefit the crypto art community by collecting and holding art, not by generating profit for members. That's an important point, right?
yeah,
It's
so because we're not promising anything to our members,
right.
and that goes to
It's
that whole like getting in trouble with the government thing.
yes, right.
Uh,
Yeah.
you
SEC don't come calling, right?
so
Yeah.
like you don't want to promise things, right?
Right.
You can give people things, but you don't want to say like, if you buy this, you will get this, right?
Sure.
Because if you fail on that, then you can get fucked, and people
Right.
have got fucked. Excuse me, I don't know if
And
that language is acceptable.
fuck it. No, yeah. It's oh well, here they are. We've talked a lot about this, but look at that. These are punks. These are DOS punks. And where did the idea come from? It's an awesome collection.
Well,
People love it, obviously. But yeah, where did it like you mentioned CryptoPunks,
yeah,
right?
crypto,
Sorry, did I
there
cut
are
you off?
derivative of CryptoPunks.
Yeah.
So they're basically remixes. So there's a whole culture of derivatives of CryptoPunks because they are kind of iconic. make a punk and kill it. That's why it's death punk.
Okay.
So we're gonna like a cause of death, like in the metadata.
Oh, okay.
And the
Nice.
description, like I made one that was like, it's called Laughing All the Way to the Bank, and the description was, I stole this from me, but it was like, I made a calculated decision, but man, am I bad at math.
I love that. Oh, we still got you.
Punk's different.
Max capacity. You've become the glitch. No, yeah, little bit of dropout.
Yeah, that's my Starlink.
We'll soldier through.
I'm out in the woods, in the mountains, so.
You're on that Elon Musk wavelength out there.
It's kind of crappy, but it's better than DSL internet out here over the phone line.
Yes. And so we just got done watching Red Dawn and talking about that. So you are basically living out your survivalist fantasies in a crypto world, right?
I am. It's like I'm a weird cyberpunk thing going on. Like where I live out in the woods, but I make art, that's attached cryptographically to a block to an international blockchain, It's kind
Would you describe yourself as a high-tech lowlife?
yeah, but I'm really that low tech high life as well.
There we go. There we go. Fuck yeah. All right.
So it's like this is all high tech room in around here, and the rest is not very high tech.
Yeah.
I just bought a fancy washer and dryer because our washer wasn't working.
Nice.
And
Upgrades.
yeah, there were a few years, old enough that it was worth replacing them instead of trying to repair them. But they're kind of fancy. It feels fancy when you get something new like that,
But so interesting. So you guys weren't getting that out there on the stream because I've been getting it the whole time. But says fixed. All good. Okay. Well,
Is it an audio issue or something?
I guess so.
Oh,
But yeah, so Max lives on a farm and has a lot of farm life going on the side.
it's kind of
Basically.
expensive living out in the country too. I need to buy like an ATV and stuff, and to like help me chop down trees that died in a wildfire.
Yeah. And Gridworks asked, did he buy his gold mine land yet? So you have a claim, right? That's not exactly buying. 2 claims.
I got a second one. So now I have all year action. That's
fantastic.
One's only good in the spring, summer, and fall, and the other one's only good really in like autumn, or winter and spring.
Crypto mining and gold mining.
So that's
like
actually
you said,
how I got into
low
gold.
tech, high life.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why I got into it, because I was like doing the Bitcoin mining, and I was like, I'm not making shit. This kind of passive income kind of sucks. Like, I want passive income, but I also want something where, like, if I put the effort in, I get money out.
Yes.
Right? So it's like
little ROI for you.
Yeah. I like passive income's cool, but like it's slow and it's boring and you don't make a lot. So I want something where I could like work hard and make a bunch of money the harder I work, right? And
I mean, one would hope,
yeah.
right? It's the dream.
And so digging for gold is actually more rewarding than, most jobs I've ever had. Not financially rewarding, but like in terms of me getting back what I put in, if that makes sense.
Better than working at Blockbuster.
Yeah. That's right. That's one of my
Um,
it's like a that's like a big bragging point for me, is that I worked
right.
there, you know?
Yeah. And so back into the world of crypto art. Let's check this out and let's see if I can't fuck this up a little more. Now, we've got lots of DOS punks, um, DOS smalls. There's like these
So there's
spin-offs,
been
right?
derivatives of my derivative project.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, like to begin with, it was a derivative project. Then there's DOS peaks,
yeah.
right?
So some
Is
of
this
our
just not loading here? It should show,
yeah,
right?
some of our community members went through and picked out DOS punks that represented all the different characters in Twin Peaks.
I love it. We're Twin Peaks fans here.
Yeah. And so the cool thing is okay, so when I was dropping those, it was like going like really well financially, but it was like stressing me out because like people are complaining, you know what I mean? And it's like
Yeah.
the more successful it is, the more mad people get that like they can't get one, you know?
Would you say more money, more problems?
Yeah. But so I was like, you know, kind of a little drunk one night and feeling burnt out, and I was like, just make your own DOS punks. You know, like it's like you can just, you know, I it's just like just, you know, take a DOS punk and remix it and go ahead and mint it, you know. Sell it.
Sounds decentralized or something.
Well, so like a big thing in crypto art, not necessarily NFTs, but in crypto art, is CC0, public domain. You know,
Yes.
CC refers to Creative Commons, which came after public domain,
Yes.
but they have a designation in Creative Commons for public domain stuff.
And so that's CC0.
Right. And it's kind of become a bigger deal recently. So, okay, if I make a big collection, right, and it does well, like DOS Punks, I could like send DMCA's to everybody who copies it. You know what I mean? And sue
Right.
people and and then I'd have to pay a bunch of lawyers, right?
And so that I think is something that people don't really fully grasp, by the way, going back to like, sort of NFT skepticism and stuff, is like these files are, you can grab these files if you really want to.
Oh, yeah.
You can find this stuff and get it.
Yeah. Well,
But
okay. So, one of the legendary crypto artists who you might even remember from our Tumblr days was Xcopy.
yeah, absolutely.
And so he sells for a lot of money now, right? And but he made this legendary piece is called Right Click Save As Guy, I believe. But
Nice. Okay, I see what you're getting at.
because it was
Yeah.
like one of the criticisms of NFTs is like you can just right click and save. You know,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
so like he made just a drawing of some guy like you know, with the hoodie and you know, like those pictures of the hackers kind of, you know,
Yes.
like hoodie and sunglasses, and it was just right click save guy or right click save as guy. I forget, but it's
He's hacking and code cracking.
yeah, and it's like, yeah, who's the guy who runs around right click saving NFTs and being like, yeah, you know?
And so there's perceived value in the art, but perceived value in the blockchain as well, like your
Provenance.
you know your real estate in the blockchain, right?
All about provenance. The
Yes,
blockchain proves that I minted it, right? Remember, this is a thing on
exactly, right.
Tumblr is like people would just steal your thing. They'd right click save it and then repost it as though it was their own content. When they could have,
And so
it would have been easier for them to just hit like the reblog button on Tumblr, right? But they wanted to pretend it was their original content. And So
Max would get his work stolen a lot on Tumblr, and this is kind of a good segue to go back in time a little bit, by the way. So, I remember that I don't remember their name, thankfully, but I remember someone was rampantly stealing from you and reposting it as their own with little comments, even like, look at what I made, and like crap like that, like just blatant.
uh,
But
there's a couple people that basically like were pretending that they made everything that I made.
yeah.
It's
And
crazy.
you got a lot of popularity back in those days, but it goes back further than that. You were making, I mean, we have been doing stuff forever now. I don't know how long. We grew up with computers.
Yeah.
Um,
Since we were
but
little, I think I was
yeah,
like 6 when I started using a computer.
right. And then, so what about analog medium? You want to touch on that a little
Yeah.
bit?
So that was actually like where I got started doing the digital art that I'm doing now.
Yeah,
Uh,
completely.
that was like really the start of it. And back then, if you remember, that's where max capacity comes from too, the name.
Yes.
And I
So,
came up with that later, but at first I was just calling myself Max Headroom.
and so for those that don't know, most people don't. but,
Yeah.
Max and I and other people started a black and white photocopied zine called Analog Medium. And I think there were 2 issues of it, right? Were there more? I feel like there were two
It,
issues of it.
2 printed issues. Yeah.
Yeah, right. And then and those were fucking fun. Those were great. It was awesome. Um, I wrote movie reviews. We did other things. Max made a lot of the art, and other people, like I mentioned, other people had writing in it, had art in it. But then you, I think, were the one to say, "Let's take it online."
Yeah. Well, it was like blogs early, it was like Blogger.
Blogger,
Um,
blogger.com.
and it was when blogs were kind of new. They weren't like
Yeah.
brand new, but they were not like hot, you know, like, um, but we developed it. Yeah. So you did, eventually we had analog medium and it was on Blogger, but we had our own custom domain.
Yes, analogmedium.com.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, um, you did most of the writing
Yeah.
and I did like the, infrastructure and the art basically.
Um, and
I think I would even take the
still
screenshots of the movies that you wrote for.
we would still, yeah, and I think you're right about that.
Because actually,
Yeah,
no, I do.
I don't
Because I
know.
remember you got mad.
You would show me some. No, yeah,
You got
sorry.
mad
Go
at me
ahead.
one time for Altered States because you gave the movie a good review, but I didn't think it was a very good movie. So I made screenshots that kind of made fun of the movie. And you were like, "Why are you doing that to my review that says it's good?"
Creative differences. No, yeah. Um,
So I think that movie's funny, but I just remember I was like, I just the end of it's goofy.
oh, it's so goofy, but there's a lot of goofy moments. Still love it. It was the first movie. I'm all justifying it now. This is the first movie to ever win an Academy Award for Best Special Effects. They basically made the category to give that movie
I
an
think
Oscar
too
for it.
that we reviewed that in our very first printed zine.
Yeah.
I think that
Yep.
uh, that was one of the ones, and I remember Chopping Mall was one of the others,
Chopping Mall.
and Mutant
Mutant Hunt.
Hunt,
Mutant Hunt. Yep.
which I
That's like
recently paid.
famous now.
Go, sorry, what?
Oh, you were just gonna say how much you paid for
Just
Mutant
got it
Hunt.
on VHS, rebought it. It cost me $80 on eBay for
And
something we paid $1 for at the flea market.
because I was gonna say Mutant Hunt's basically famous now as like one of those schlock classics. No one had heard of it back then.
No, nobody.
We got it.
We felt
We got
so
it
hip
at a flea
for
market.
knowing about that. And Chopping Mall too. Chopping Mall is kind of like an infamous movie now.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
And
we were just like how come we've never heard of these movies? They're fantastic.
Yeah, we got to get the word out, right?
Yeah. And
Um,
Altered States too. We first time we watched that was on VHS from the flea market, I believe.
so we'll not talk about this the whole time, but I just wanted to mention. Do you remember the first time we watched Altered States? We bought what we thought was LSD, and we weren't sure if it was. And we got a bunch of cheap beer and sat down for Altered States, and it turned out it was not LSD, in fact.
Either
But
totally fake or was that LSA shit? It's like the
yeah,
precursor to LSD.
yeah,
Uh,
and like you need to do some more work on it to get LSD.
so apparently in Mexico they have kick-ass LSD. And
Really, let's go.
I didn't know that, but like I just visited there and like people were like the Mexican acid is sick and like people were like, "Hey, I heard you wanted some acid." Like I was like, "No,
Yes,
I didn't say that."
I never said that. You're assuming. No.
But like so Mexico City is a lot different than the rest of Mexico in a lot of ways. Uh,
Max just got back, basically, more or less, just got back from Mexico City.
yeah, and I think I got COVID on the, either there or on the plane back.
Right.
The plane back to was full of babies and people in wheelchairs, so I'm sure
Yeah,
I got sick. No offense,
that baby
no
COVID.
offense to
Uh,
disabled people. I'm talking about like old people. There's
so offense to old people.
yes,
No.
exactly.
Yeah. So, but one of the reasons I wanted to highlight that is because when you were in Mexico City, you were part of an event. It's called Beyond NFT, right? Am I getting that right?
Non-NFT. That was
Non
the
NFT.
panel I did was called Beyond NFTs.
There we go.
Yeah.
Non NFT. You're a panelist.
Yeah. Which is the
That's fucking
first time
cool.
I ever was invited to an NFT conference or to speak about art ever. And I might add, they paid for my hotel room, which like
That's
I've
that's luxury right there. That's
well,
the perks of the biz.
it's like as soon as they said we'll pay for the hotel room for you for 2 nights, I was like, oh, I'm there, like that's half the expense of traveling, right? Is or sometimes
Oh yeah.
most of the expense of traveling. Uh,
Yeah.
so,
Absolutely.
and it was really great to meet all these people in person that uh, it's like you talk to them all the time or you see them all the time, right? Um,
Hey, I'm gonna try to get us back to where we were online. And because you're talking about some of the people you've worked with.
yeah.
And
So I think you
um
should go to my foundation page. Um, it's
oh,
foundation
okay.
foundation.app slash
I have it
okay.
I have a clicky thingy here. Foundation.
Because me and you did a collab too.
Oop. Dot app. Sorry.
Yeah, and then slash at max capacity.
I'm checking my own work. I am viewing this through the same thing you are viewing it from. So, okay, here we are.
Yeah,
Perfect. This is great examples of like your glitch art as
the
well.
most recent pieces here. If you look at that Bart Simpson one,
Come
just
on. There we go.
uh,
All right.
that one I was very pleased that that sold in like under an hour. Uh,
Oh, fantastic.
and
That's great to hear.
meanwhile, I think that Homer has not sold. But
Right.
also see the
It's the
one
tude in that bro. No,
see the
yeah.
one on the right there is that's actually I did a remix of X copy piece.
Oh, fantastic. That's
And
cool.
it's kind of like the collab that we never did back on Tumblr. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's
And
something I'd like to talk about real fast is
Yeah.
when you're making money, I don't like with your art. It's like now I don't even care if people steal my shit because people don't want
Right.
to buy the stolen shit. They want to buy the shit from me, you know. And
It kind of um, adds to your brand,
Mhm.
even, right?
and it's
The,
back on Tumblr, it felt really competitive because like none of us were making any money. So it was
yeah.
like if you stole from me, you're like hurting my chances of like getting noticed as an artist, right?
Right. Absolutely.
And
That's, I mean, that's a lot of what goes on Twitch as well, by the way. There's potential to make money, but like, yeah, anyway,
right.
very
That was
similar.
always I was trying to build a foundation of an art career, of a fine art career. And
Yeah.
like stealing my work like hurts me because I'm not making shit, I made a little bit of money, but I spent more than I made to make,
R-
to make the art
right.
with. And I sold the money. This is like the old model was like give all of your art away for free and sell t-shirts, right?
Yeah, sure, right.
And it's like, well, okay, I
The
sold
t-shirt
a
days of
thousand
art.
t-shirts, which is pretty fucking impressive.
Hey, can I show?
Yeah,
Can I
no, I
can
love
I
that.
undress for you a little bit?
That's one of my favorites.
Right. That was a max capacity design. That is a max capacity design.
So like I sold 1,000 t-shirts over 5 years, but that's like $1,000 a year. It's nothing you can
Yeah.
live off of.
Right. Absolutely.
But so for our audience, that shirt is the TV People, which is our band that me and Adam started because we were tired of only making music videos for other people's music. Do you remember?
Yep.
And
And um, not having non-copyrighted music for our own video pieces as
right,
well. Yeah.
right. And we were always like, I remember after a while of us making music videos for musicians, we were like, musicians should be making music for our videos. Like,
Yes, right.
I mean, it's only fair, right? and, um,
A- and
so that's what we did.
not to make this into a Twitch commercial, but that's one thing I love about Twitch is it goes both ways, it goes all ways, it goes three ways. Musicians love to do stuff over people's visuals. Visual artists love to do things for people's music, and it's a very cool collaborative community here. And
I like that. I appreciate
yeah,
that. And so that's kind of how crypto art is. It's like, well, we're all getting paid, you know, some of us more than others. But then
yeah,
that dynamic allows, let's say somebody else sells more than I do, but me and them do a collab. Well, then I get noticed by all the people that are collecting that person's work. Um, so like
and
just
there's an interesting aspect that I think not a lot of people realize the secondary market. Going back to Gridworks having sold his DOS Punks piece, right?
right.
You would have gotten royalties on his sale of his DOS Punks piece, right?
Yeah,
You would collect money when he then turns around and sells your work.
that's like one of the coolest things about it, honestly, for artists, right? Is that there's royalties on the secondary sales.
The
So
fact that that is worked into the process is genius, I think.
yeah, it's written into the contract, the smart contract. A smart contract
Yes.
is basically a program that runs on a cryptocurrency, and you basically pay to put it on the blockchain. And then however you've set it up to work, it'll just keep working forever.
Yeah.
And so there's different versions of that. Like we just did a project, me and my friend Empress Trash, and we did a split contract. So we made a special contract like through a website that does it like
Cool.
third party. And it's a split so that 40% of the proceeds from the project went to me, 40% went to her, and 20% went to our DAO.
Oh, awesome. Yeah.
And so that's its own contract. And then an NFT collection also is its own contract. So there's like different
And
types of contracts.
And in that, like the fact that it is running on that contract, it's not just like a contractual agreement that is how the transaction will process when it goes through. Like once you've set it up, you don't have to do anything for that to happen, right? For those amounts to be distributed
Well,
that
in this
way.
case, you do just have to click the button as the transaction that distributes it. But
Okay, yeah,
but the lots of contracts like minting something, like an NFT is
yeah.
can happen, you know, it's basically
Like when you set the royalties on something,
right. That's
there's
built
nothing
into
more
the
after that.
contract, so that automatically
Yeah.
happens when somebody buys something from that smart contract. The royalty money automatically goes. Except, okay, this is a whole controversy right now in NFTs and crypto art. Is some platforms are not honoring the royalties
Ooh.
of the contract,
Okay.
like to
So,
favor the flippers and the traders.
so there's some finagling going there.
Yeah, and it's become kind of like a little mini culture war, you know, in crypto art or in NFTs, I should say, because it's the more on the
Well,
tech side.
will I get you in trouble if I ask you what marketplace to avoid?
No, so I have a lot of opinions about that. um, OpenSea is like the biggest marketplace on Ethereum, and it's basically a marketplace aggregator. Uh, and so you kind of
Oh
have
yeah,
to
sure.
use it if you want to sell stuff on Ethereum.
Right.
Uh, but it's there's a bunch of problems with it, you know.
Yeah.
We're dependent upon it, but it's like not ideal, and a lot of people get mad at at OpenSea a lot.
Yeah.
And then there's other platforms that are curatorial, uh, but like gatekeeping. So you only are allowed to use the platform if you pass a curatorial submission
Okay.
test, right? And
Yeah.
that tends to lead to all kinds of like nepotism between friends. And when you only have like one or two or five curators, then they're just going to curate to their taste and not necessarily to like
Sure.
what's significant, right? uh, so
And then that becomes a lot like traditional art, where it's
exactly,
like
exactly.
NFT art is like going away from that. That's like bringing it right back to like, I don't know, Sotheby's or something. Like, yeah.
Absolutely. No, that's the
Yeah.
whole thing. And Sotheby's is auctioning off NFT art, by the way.
Totally. Yeah.
And it is only the ones that like are on those like premium platforms.
Yeah.
And so some of them, okay, a couple of the premium platforms are starting to open up uh, like to community curation, which is
Oh, that's
exciting.
cool.
I just got accepted actually to one as a curator, thanks to
Oh, neat.
my friend Empress Trash, who also just got accepted as a curator on there. And she got hooked
Oh,
me up so that we can benefit our DAO. So if I could real quick, our DAO, you repeated the mission statement. But what we basically do is we nominate an artist every month. Our members, uh, to be a member, you have to own a DOS Punk on the two different blockchains.
I already navigated away from
And so
that.
then you then get voting rights and nomination rights, and you can nominate an artist of the month. And then we vote, our members vote on the nominated artist every month. And what I'm going to be doing, I got access as a curator to this new platform, is I'm going to let our featured artists do a drop on this big curated platform.
Nice. What is the name
This one's Nifty Gateway.
Nifty Gateway.
So I really like what they're doing with the community curation, because curation is fine, but like when you're excluding people based on curation, then that's stupid. You know, uh, that's
Not true that.
it's basically like self-defeating. You know, self-destructive, because you create like a walled garden, and that's, I mean, then it's like, okay, only the people who want to be there are going to use it. You know.
Hey, so can we talk a little bit about process?
Sure.
Your process. I mean, we've been talking about general like blockchain and NFT processes, but what about like this? I want to get this in front of people and like so there's multiple things going on here, but that's what I want to get at. Like so you were talking about glitch art, right?
Yeah.
Like so these are some prime examples of like Simpsons glitch art here. Um,
Hey, if you look at that one in the top right corner, that's from Chopping Mall.
oh hell yeah,
I always come back to those movies all the time.
hell yeah, that's great. Looking clean too. Like just in a nutshell, like how did you make these glitched out pieces?
So generally, I have some sort of device that glitches a video signal. So those all started out as either digital files being played over uh, a converter box that converted it to an analog signal,
Right.
or just a VHS tape. And then I play that out, and then I run it through various glitch boxes, right? Or dirty mixers. There's a thing called a dirty video mixer. And actually, you've bought me a couple. You bought me my first one.
Yeah.
You and Crack Mother.
Yeah.
And that
Christmas present.
got me really excited actually using that. It's right over there. It's right there, and the gun too.
Oh wait, wait. Let me show them. They didn't see that. Hold
Oh
on.
yeah.
Yeah, it's right over there. Oh,
So this one's built into a VHS tape, and you can see it has two inputs and one output, and then a knob, which is just a potentiometer
to
switching
dirty it up.
between the two, and it makes, basically it makes like those Simpsons glitches. Uh,
Yeah.
the trick is, what I do is I will glitch hours and hours of footage and get hundreds and hundreds of gigabytes of footage, and then I go through it basically frame by frame, um, just slowly through each video, and I just look for things that look cool. You know, I've got, my mouse has like a little um, brake on the toggle wheel that lets it free spin. So I like bring up the
Oh,
frame by frame editor, and it's like almost like
yeah.
using like editing tools. I could just jog through it, you know?
Yeah, very cool.
And so I look for cool things, and then I cut them, and then I figure out what, if I can use them or not later. I take the cuts like as I go through, and then I go through those cuts and see what out of them is usable, basically.
And then tell me about pee pee. Tell me about your pee pee.
The PPs. So
Yeah.
PPs are those ones there are AI generated peppies. And
my my mouse does not want to behave.
they're
Do it.
that's, you know, AI art's like a kind of a hot new thing. And people of course are freaking out about it.
Yeah, like okay, same argument about NFT art. People are mad at the fact that AI art even exists, basically, right?
But it's like, I mean, you could see it's fucking cool though, right? Like, so who
Yeah.
cares?
And so these are depictions of Pepe the Frog, right?
Look at that one in the top left, looks like some weird Hellraiser shit.
That is true, right?
And then
The
the
mouth
top
like
right is like
peeled back,
a weird, sexy Peppy.
right? Um, and so yeah, like, but that's become. I think you put it to me this way: is that like Pepe the Frog has become almost like the Mickey Mouse of the NFT art scene.
Back to like
Is
the
that accurate?
iconography thing,
Right.
like with CryptoPunks. It's like I see Peppy as like the internet's Mickey Mouse.
Yeah. Yeah, just the internet in general, right? Like it's native to the platform of the internet, to the yeah.
And
And so
if you remember too, Matt Fury, the artist who made Peppy, he used to be on Tumblr back in the day.
I was just gonna bring him up.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. And so but that's something you're doing. You're making AI generated Pepes and selling them along with your other collections. What else do you have like going on in like your collections right now?
That I was telling you about that split contract I made with Empress Trash. We
Yes.
just did a collaborative project where we took a PFP. Okay, so PFP is profile picture, right?
Yeah, completely.
And it's a whole basically subgenre of crypto art NFTs. And
Which is like
like the crypto
they
punks, it's like
yeah,
a little head. It's a face for you to use in your forum or on Twitter.
they get used all the time. CryptoPunks, but I mean DOS punks get used all
Like
the
the
time.
Bored Apes
As
Yacht Club.
yeah. Yes, right.
Um,
You'll see those.
and so like at first that's the thing as I was like mad at kind of crypto punks because I'm like, why do people pay so much money for this shit, you know? But it's like it's but the with the crypto punks specifically, there's historicity or is that what you say? You know, historical value to them.
Oh yeah. Sure.
Um, and like
It belongs in a museum.
yeah, and so like people want PFPs. So once I realized like that that's kind of just like a medium almost of crypto art, right? Then I could like make ones that didn't betray my artistic sensibilities, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like
That's interesting. So would that arguably like there's like two ways that could happen, right? It's like something's valuable because somebody wants to make it their PFP, but also does something become valuable once it is someone's PFP? For instance, like someone influential puts
that
that piece as their profile picture.
absolutely happens. A very influential person on
Yeah.
NFTs and crypto art had one of those crypto punks, and
Yeah.
he was very influential, and he got mad because um, they were like trying to like sue people or do DMCA's and take down notices for people that were using their IP, right? So this guy
Lame.
sold his, and his sold it was the third most like highest sale in history, and it was because of who he was. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
His
Yeah.
his fucking username on Twitter, I believe, is just 4156, which was the number of his CryptoPunk.
Nice.
I think that's I'm check. It's either yeah,
But
no,
does he have a check mark?
it's a punk
No.
4156.
Is he verified?
He is
That's
because it's
um,
subscribed to Twitter Blue, I see upon clicking. But
there you go.
he's got
Yeah.
151,000 followers on Twitter. Um,
If th- if this wasn't all going to be dated in the future, that exchange right there about the verified check mark is gonna like date this interview.
Nobody's gonna know what the
Like,
fuck we're talking about.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Um,
So that guy's
but yeah,
CryptoPunk though sold for like $3.31 million.
Holy shit. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty
That's a
wild.
lot of bread.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and it's just an ape with a little blue bandana on and 16 by
Yeah.
16 pixels.
Yeah.
And so it definitely is, though, because of, like you said, the person who uses the PFP. Um, there's this one account, Cosmo Medici, that's like a
Yeah.
everybody thinks it's Snoop Dogg, but it's really like I think a group of investors.
Yeah, who like tease at different identities they might be,
Yeah.
right? Like I was reading about this. Yeah.
So everybody just assumes it's Snoop Dogg, but it's like Snoop isn't gonna be the one running the Twitter, you know?
Yeah, right.
Uh, so everybody's like, "Ooh, Cosmo liked my tweet," and I'm like, "You mean Cosmo Medici's intern liked your tweet?"
Yeah.
Uh,
Like, the folks running most celebrities' Twitters or most politicians' Twitters or yeah.
so,
The social media manager.
but people
Yeah.
definitely, it, to your point, it matters who is using what, and that's why DOS Punk did
Yeah.
so well as a few famous artists invested. I don't want to say invested. They collected the art, right? You got to be careful
And
about what you say is an investment, and right, like when a painter paints an oil painting, they're not like buy this investment. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Even though it is an investment, right, to buy a physical oil painting from a renowned artist, right? But the artist isn't
The
like invest in my art; it will go up in value, right? Like
right.
you can't
Yeah.
really say that. Like you get in trouble, especially if it doesn't go up in value. Uh,
Um
so like,
so everyone go invest in max capacity. It's guaranteed to go up in value. No, wait.
no, so
That's the
that's
opposite of what you're saying, I should say.
crypto people always
Yeah.
say is this is not financial advice.
This is not financial advice, everyone.
Yes.
Don't take your financial advice from the guy on Twitch who's sitting behind Space Ghost's desk.
No, and honestly, like you want to watch out for the people that are like, you know, this is investment advice,
Yeah,
right?
this is what you should do
You,
with your money.
there are all these like creepy crypto influencers, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And they're usually what's called pumping their bags. That means that they're just whatever
that
they're
sounds
invested
gross.
in, they're promoting because to try.
That sounds creepy.
Yeah, it is creepy.
Um, so do you consider yourself an influencer?
No, one thing about influencers is like they do it for money. Their opinions are
Yes.
for money, and generally, when I like express my opinions, I tend to alienate people and lose money.
That's a great distinction. Okay, yeah, fair enough.
So,
Yeah,
or like what nice people have said is, and I've said this to other people too, is not an influencer, just influential. There's a difference.
yeah,
Trying
yeah.
to influence people versus being influential, you know?
You might say that an influencer monetizes their opinions,
Yeah. And
right?
that's like
Like,
the distinction I make when people accuse me of being an influencer. I'm like, I don't make any money for my opinions.
yeah, absolutely. Hmm. So Max, this has been awesome already. I want to ask you a thing, and then maybe we'll get out of here. But love having you on. What I'm wondering, this is you know, kind of a one of those interview questions. What comes next?
Mm.
What's next for max capacity?
Well, so I think before we go to, you should play our collab piece. It's the audio
Oh shit.
video
Okay.
piece. And I
Well,
actually
we
took
we have the technology. Yeah.
your music from a live stream you did on Twitch that was recorded
Yes.
for Direct
And
Relief. It was called, I
yep.
believe. And
And so that was, let me give a little mention to Darth Rips organizes Catterday on the last Saturday of every month on Twitch. And it's a raid train for charity. And I was taking part in it, benefiting Direct Relief, if you're familiar with that organization. And so, yeah, that's where the audio came from, was my stream for Catterday
that's really
for
cool
Direct
that
Relief.
people are
Yeah.
doing charity on Twitch. I
Yeah,
appreciate.
absolutely.
Um,
Hey, this is maybe a little bit embarrassing, but how do I find our
so
collaboration?
go up
No.
and pick where it says collections.
Yeah,
And,
if this will let me. Come on, little guy,
and
little mouse guy.
so I want to do more audio video work, whether collaborative or otherwise, because that's again back to like the TV people and doing video art, right? Like that's
Yeah,
kind of like, well, what we always wanted to be doing, right?
it's gonna happen.
And
I'm willing it.
so, yeah, and then go to the 20XX right there in the middle. So each of these like little collections there is its own contract. Back to the contract talk. So
Heck yeah.
there it is on the right.
Oh, it's on the right. Yeah, that one. It should come across audio wise, I think.
I'll tell you. You might have to unmute it too, though.
Yeah.
It,
Is that if I hover over it?
it loops, which is part of the fun.
Um, Unmute. Damn you. Oh, there it is.
This is actually an issue with NFTs in general.
Oh, come on. This is the part of the stream where I can't move a mouse. Hold on, I got it here.
Yeah, and so the video is cool, but like it's not as good without the audio, right? And it's kind of my favorite audio video projects where the audio is more fun with the video and the video is more fun with the audio.
Still not getting it.
You know, like some of the best music videos ever, it's like you don't even want to listen to the song without watching the video. You know what I mean?
Well, I think people are going to have to trust us that there's audio here.
That's
It's not unmuting. Yeah.
Well, go back and click a different one while we're at it, just because it's fun to see them on the stream like that. So if
Yeah.
you go back, there's it was on the top left of the list. It was a fun one that I made. What movie did I make that from? That might be Chopping Mall too. No, I think it's from Mutant Hunt actually. Yeah, that one on the left.
So cool. You're giving us every color. There's one of every color.
So that's from
I'm
I believe that is Mutant Hunt, and that's the dancer from Club Inferno.
I'm going to post a couple links in the Discord after this, and maybe people will be able to get the audio to work on their end.
Yeah. I
um,
should post these things to YouTube also. You know, I don't think collectors would be mad about that. Collectors tend to like it when the piece that they have collected is displayed other places. You know what I mean? It's like
aren't you trying to sell it? No, we've already been over this.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well, and it's like
yeah,
just putting it on the blockchain is kind of like good enough almost. Because the
yeah,
whole thing I was talking about
absolutely.
provenance and people stealing and you know.
It's there. You can see. Yeah, completely. And it doesn't prevent people from enjoying it
Right.
and going and watching it with audio. um, And so more AV collaborations, more madness. You've been making some music, right?
Yeah, a
You've
little
been
bit. Um, I got a couple little synths. I've been enjoying the FM synths. Um,
heck yeah.
they sound like when we used to be circuit bending the Sega Genesis.
Yes.
Because the Sega Genesis, I believe, was the first console that had an FM sound chip in it.
I love the Korg Volca FM. That's the one I play
Yeah,
with.
one of
Yeah.
those too. Yeah, no, I'm trying to buy like every FM synth on the market. They're
Nice.
so fucking fun and weird. They're
Hell yeah.
really weird, you know. And
Oh yeah. They're endless.
I have
Like
the
yeah.
Arturia Micro Freak right here, and
Nice.
it's so fun because it's got uh like a spice button. That's like
Spice, but
so you can like make custom arpeggios, and then you can like hit the randomizer button and it adds random patterns in, or you can hit the spice button and it just like tweaks your arpeggio a little bit.
awesome.
So you,
The spice extends life.
yeah, so
Um,
it's fun. I've been having fun with those, but I want to do more of that, and if I can, I want to get on Twitch and stream audio video stuff.
fuck yeah, let's do it. Let's collaborate.
Yeah,
And yeah, you should do it. And people love process stuff. They'd love to see some process behind what you're doing. Like you'd be amazed at the tolerance people have for long, drawn out processes.
I'm already amazed,
To like,
honestly, from what I've
yeah,
seen. But like, I would love to do that because what I do, I think some people think I just like shit out gifs, you know. It's
yeah.
like actually it takes hours and hours of work for each one, you know.
And yes, Anarchy Audio can be an NFT. Anarchy and Bedrock is asking.
That's
And there are NFT musicians out there,
that's an
primarily so.
underrepresented
Yeah.
format, uh,
Yeah.
and music NFTs are going to be huge. Our band, TV people, remember we were selling tapes? Like
Yep.
we made more money in 6 months selling NFTs than we made in 5 years selling tapes and
Yeah.
Bandcamp
Yeah.
downloads, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there's a market for it for sure.
And so, yeah, I'm excited about what comes next. Let's definitely do more.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I got my
Um,
fancy mic and my new camera, so I'm ready to stream.
yeah, this is new. Was it this week? You
Yeah,
got
I got this nice
right?
little mic here.
Hell yeah, yeah. And so,
Basically
I
bought
mean,
these for this interview.
can can we go so far as to thank Elon Musk for Starlink? Can we say thank you, Elon Musk? Is that going to get you in trouble?
I don't know if I can say that. No, but I
Yeah.
actually Starlink, they're fucking up all the astronomers' telescopes. So
Oh shit, I haven't read that yet.
I,
I believe it.
but
Yeah.
no, but it is cool because it is much better internet than I was able to have before.
Awesome.
So I'm happy about that.
And yeah, thanks again for coming on, Max, taking the time to talk to us
Sure, thanks for
about
having me.
everything. Heck yeah, glad to have you. And just for my own satisfaction, I want to do this move one more time because I worked really hard on it.
So cool.
That happens, and then it comes back, right? Yeah, I put some effort into that. It wasn't low effort. No.
That's sick. Well, and when I
Uh,
when I start streaming, I'd like to have you on as a guest.
hell yeah, gladly, anytime.
Cool.
And, and we're gonna get out of here in a second, but tell me about Better Off Dead. We're gonna watch a movie. We're gonna go see Better Off Dead.
I think okay, so I always think of this movie as like the anti-Breakfast Club movie.
Yes,
It's like a teen
absolutely.
coming of age movie, but it's like cynical and dark humor.
It's it's really dark to the point where it's like wow in some scenes,
Yeah.
right?
Wow.
And
He's trying to
they
kill
keep it
himself the
funny.
whole, at least the first half of the movie. Like,
Like major comedy comes from failed suicide attempts.
and there's the classic line in one of his suicide attempts. Something to the along the lines of, "It's a shame when people throw away a perfectly good white boy."
Fucking immortal line. I love that line. So good.
And all the
It
characters,
is.
the like nerdy guy from across the street or whatever, is priceless. Uh,
Hell yeah.
no, it's a weird, stupid, and good movie.
And somehow it's about skiing as well.
Somehow, yeah, and like, yeah, saving,
It's just that's how it was in the 80s. Just people ski.
yeah, just I don't know. For some reason, skiing is really important to the plot. Yeah,
Right? Yeah.
and
Awesome.
Booger
Well,
from Revenge of the Nerds is in it.
yes. Wonder Joints,
Yeah,
everyone. Um, yeah. Yeah, he's like a central character. Yeah, that's right. Um,
what's up, little
um,
buddy?
yeah. Cool. Fuck yeah. Thanks, Max. Everyone, go check out Max Capacity. Um, it's the best investment advice I can give you. No, this is not investment advice.
Bunch of the SEC is gonna get you.
Right. I'll just tell them, Jimmy Fallon told me to do it.
Parody, just it's satire.
Yes, right. Cool, Max. We're gonna get out of here, and I hope you can stick around for the movie, everyone. We're gonna raid, and thanks for being here, everyone.
Yeah,
Yeah, later, Max.
and thanks for
Yes,
listening, everybody.
hell yeah. Anarchy and Bedrock says entertaining and informative. Appreciate you, Anarchy. Yeah.
Thank you.
Um, let's get out of here, everyone. We got movie sign, and later, Max.
Yeah, peace.